How did you find that path?
You know, I had very good teachers. When I was in high school, I had an English teacher, Mrs. Hawks, and being dyslexic, I was not the best student. And, you know, she said, oh, I see you making jokes in class and so. Do you ever think of writing comedy? I said, well, I never thought it'd be a job. Oh, you should think, oh, yeah, that's it. I said, I'll tell you, why don't you, maybe you could, instead of writing a paper for the final, you give a talk, you know. I said, okay, and I tried to put some kid-style jokes in. And it was the first time in my life I actually enjoyed doing homework. And I thought, well, maybe I can make a living doing this. But as a kid, you know, I think people that are comedians, you tend to remember things that are funny, things that get a reaction, you know. I was in the 4th grade, and Mrs. Allen was my teacher. And I always remember this. She was telling us about Robin Hood and how cruel the Sheriff of Nottingham was, and he would boil Robin's men in oil. And I put my hand up, and I said, you know why he did that to Tuck? And she said, no, why? Because he was a friar. Okay. Okay, and then she does one of these. That's not funny. Just stop that. I see. Oh, she's kind of laughing, you know. But the real kicker was later in the day. I'm walking past the teacher's lounge. Leno, come in. What did you say about Friar Tuck? I said, and I went, oh, she told my joke in the teacher's lounge. And I said, oh, I said he was a friar. Oh, that's a very funny thing. I went, oh, that's pretty good. And I thought, oh, and when you're a kid, you know, people that you tend to remember things that get a laugh. You just sort of
a little bit of attention.
Yeah, you put them in your mind. It makes a little indentation, you know. So that was always something I enjoyed doing. I always remembered it. But again, I never thought I could make a living doing it.
Who were your comedic influences when you were growing up?
Oh, Robert Klein, George Carlin, Richard Pryor. Primarily Klein, because Klein was like me, middle-class white kid. You know, most comedians at that time tend to be, grew up during the Depression, Henny Youngman, all those kind of guys. You know, kids today with the long hair, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and then along comes Robert Klein and once again, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Bill Cosby before the recent turn of events. You know, so it was, yeah, those were my influences.
So since we're at the Audrain Concourse and Motor Week, let's talk a little bit about cars.
Good transition.
Right? Your first car was a 34 Ford stock. What'd you do to it?
I saw it. My dad and I were driving past the Tip Top Miniature Golf in North Reading, Massachusetts. It was parked at the Shell station with a for sale sign. I went in and I bought it.
What'd you pay for that?
$350, which was a lot of money in
Yes.
in 1965. But I had been working at McDonald's and I'd saved some money, and you know, so and we dragged it back to my house, and I took a couple of years to get it running, and I got my license, and I drove it every day to school.